Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 202 of the Terminal City FC podcast, part of the Area 51 Sports Network. Josh Ray joined alongside Nathan Derrick, as per usual, talking all things footy. So, big week for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Two trophies won, technically. And um, all seems to be going as planned in Whitecaps land. Well, not all, but most things. But we'll start over the weekend in Seattle. Vancouver Whitecaps with a 2-2 draw against the Seattle Sounders. And this was a typical Cascadia derby. It had physicality, chaos, but not before a very cautious first half from both teams.
Yeah, it was very tentative. Both sides were trying to feel out exactly kind of what they were looking for. Not a whole lot to say about the first half. I mean,
other than I think the Whitecaps had the better chances. There was just one chance, but Sabby flubbed it with his touch.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
Not a bad half of football, just tentative. I think you had the word right.
Both,
Second half, though, as soon as that started, floodgates did unleash.
Yeah, both teams in the first half, I think, were trying to figure out one another and trying to figure out what the approach was. And that wasn't going to last forever. And then that second half, everything just opened up. Both teams decided to get going. 52nd minute, White. This goal wouldn't happen without Kubis, by the way. Kubis steals the ball, finds Thomas Muller, and then Brian White on the breakaway beats Stephen Fry. But then just a few minutes later, Seattle gets on the board. Jackson Reagan, he towers over Matthias Laborda to tie the game. And then Albert Rusnak, after some really poor defending, gets the tap in.
Yeah. Rusnak, definitely a man of the match performance with the work that he did. It seemed like that first goal woke both teams up.
Yeah.
I mean, it woke the Whitecaps up, but it also woke up a response from Seattle as well. Obviously, Seattle is wanting to move as high as they can up the table to get as good of a playoff spot as they can get in the Western Conference. Whitecaps were able to come back and tie it later on. Matthias Laborda, I guess,
towered over Jackson Reagan. So
there you go, right? He kind of redeems himself a little bit. And I mean, I don't know what it is with Laborda this year, but his ability on corners is much improved this year.
Oh yeah, like every game he's trying to get a flick on from the corner kick, and that corner kick obviously came from Sebastian Berhalter, who came off the bench. Unfortunately, Brian White had to be subbed off just after 30 minutes because apparently it looked like he re-aggravated his hamstring, and turns out that was the case. And according to Har, she says that they're going to try to get him back to 100% for the playoffs.
Yeah. Last time we had talked to Jesper, there had been no information on Brian at that time. They were still waiting on a scan and more information. You hope that he's back for the playoffs. The fact that he's re-aggravating and it's a hamstring. Hamstrings are tricky.
Yeah, he's had quite a bit of problems with his hamstring this year, which sucks. White finishes the regular season with 15 goals, I believe, 15 or 16. But you know what? It sucks, but because he just got back, and as long as he's ready for the playoffs, that's what matters.
Absolutely. Other one we should mention is Ralph Priso. Took a spell as a center back, something that he has never done before. I think he did a pretty capable job. In fact, he had the most completed passes out of anyone on the pitch that game as well. Excellent work at a position that he's never played before at any point in his career, I believe. We talked to him afterwards about kind of stepping up and taking that role, especially with the absence of Bilal Halbouni, who pretty much was the only healthy center back, but he was out for that one match. It seems like it's something that they knew was coming. He had been working for a few weeks, training in the position on the chance that it may come up, being that there was no backup other than Liam McNeil.
Mark O'Neill. Yeah.
Mark O'Neill. Thank you. So I got to say,
He did a good job.
I think the Canadian did a good job.
Especially there's that one goal line clearance that he made.
Yeah.
Late in the second half, though, Takaoka was pushed and he was ticked off about that. I don't know why there wasn't a foul there, but
you know what? It's one of those ones that
so
if the ball had gone into the net, you would have had VAR. But the fact that the referee didn't see it and there was no goal, there's not going to be anything that happened.
But Takaoka, he was ticked off, rightfully so. And again, Ralph Priso, well done to him for playing a position that he's never played before, but good on the club for preparing him in advance because given the amount of injuries, emergencies happened, and the emergency happened. So, well done to Ralph Priso. The referee making some dodgy calls on both sides. Laborda was lucky not to get sent off for the second yellow for that push in that second half. Sounders fans went off on the referee. You can hear it on the broadcast.
Legitimately so.
Yeah, which I totally understand. He made some bad calls, not just in favor of the Whitecaps, but in favor of the Sounders. So, it just wasn't the best performance all around. And both fan bases have right to be mad at the referee. Like in that first half, Muller looked like he was pushing the box. I didn't really think that was much, but he was pretty upset about that. Though there was one that should have been on a free kick just outside the box on Daniel Rios, I think. But, he was giving some soft calls for both teams as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just have much more leniency for referees because I'm just like, at least it wasn't Tim Ford.
At least it wasn't Tim Ford trying to get in the way of a guy trying to take a shot or give a phantom penalty.
Did you see that there's actually a change.org petition started on removing Tim Ford as a referee for MLS?
Yes, there is.
Yep. So if you really have your ire up, you can go find it.
And I guess I'm not really too upset about the referee as much as some of the players and the fans were, but given the Whitecaps were missing so many starters, especially at center back, getting a point in Seattle is more than fine because Seattle's they've lost just one game at home all season.
Getting a point on the road in Seattle, even when you have a healthy squad, is very, very good. I think we also need to remember that the Whitecaps have never done the double in one season against Seattle.
Yeah.
So the fact that you picked up 4 out of a possible 6 points this season is very, very good.
Yeah, and with that, the Whitecaps clinched top 4 in the Western Conference. And I said at the beginning of the season, don't be surprised if that happens. But we're all surprised they're top 4 in the Supporter Shield race. So top 4 in the Western Conference wrapped up. They will host game 1 of the first round, which is really nice. And for the past 2 years, this was the goal, but they never achieved it. And it's nice to see that it's been achieved this year.
Yeah. I think no matter how you shake it, this year has turned out to be a very good year for the Whitecaps already in terms of pushing the highest that they ever have. Obviously, I don't think it's what the club wants in terms of it being enough. They want to continually go more. And for the Whitecaps, I don't think that getting 49 points, getting 56 points, whatever it is, I don't know if that matters as much as advancing in rounds in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. I think the club will be happy no matter where they finish in the standings, but getting past the first round and going on a deep run is what matters most. And just that game in Seattle, good on both sides. Good on the Whitecaps for adapting to the play, adapting to how chaotic the game was. It was physical, a lot of rough tackles. And, I mean, the Whitecaps, near the end, could have won it given the amount of possession they had.
Mm-hmm.
But Stephen Fry made some good saves, especially on that Berhalter free kick late. And a point in Seattle, nothing to complain about.
So what does this mean for the Whitecaps right now? They are 4th, actually tied for 3rd in the Supporter Shield standings. That tie comes with San Diego. So
who lost on the weekend.
Well, actually, San Diego, they're winless in the last 3. you got to wonder, is like that shine a little bit off, being that expansion team. It happens to every expansion team at some point where
Yep.
you just can't carry it through the whole season. And I wonder if we're starting to see that with San Diego a little bit. It means that they're tied for first in the West, but tied for fourth overall is really, really good. With their game in hand, a win on that game in hand would move them up to second, 1 point over FC Cincinnati. Philadelphia is the team that holds their own destiny in their hands. They have
62 points.
2 games left, 6 points on the Whitecaps. So with that game in hand, it could be 3. Whitecaps, they're going to need some help against Philadelphia. And let's be honest, Philadelphia's run into the final 2 weeks is difficult.
Yeah. I'm going to bring up who they play.
They're going to be playing their next game this weekend is NYCFC at
home, and then Charlotte away on decision day.
Charlotte away. So 2 pretty hard West or Eastern Conference teams.
Yeah. And Philadelphia, their supporter shields race to lose, especially after Inter Miami drew to Toronto FC. Well done to Sean Johnson in that game.
And lost
5-3 home to Chicago Fire. Chicago has clinched the playoff spot for the first time since 2017.
Good job, Berhalter.
Yeah, good job to the elder Berhalter. And the Whitecaps, that also means Cascadia Cup, a record 8th Cascadia Cup for the Whitecaps, and well-deserved. Did pretty well in Cascadia all season. No losses, 4-0-4.
Mm-hmm.
No. Like 2-0-2.
Yeah.
Rather. So well done to the Whitecaps for clinching Cascadia. And they clinched another trophy last night. Canadian champions for the 4th straight year against Vancouver FC from Langley at BC Place. Whitecaps came into this game the clear favorites, and they got the job done, but it was Vancouver FC, credit to them, made it a bit tougher than it was expected to be.
Vancouver FC, they looked out of their depth, let's say, for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Whitecaps in that first 10 minutes were able to get 2 goals very, very quickly. Ali Ahmed, great switch of play from Thomas Mueller to find him, gets around his defender, nice shot. Again, pays back the deed, drawing a penalty. Only 5 minutes later, Mueller steps up. This time it's his turn. Vancouver FC did try to make some changes on the fly. They moved Nicholas Mosqueda further kind of back into the midfield rather than up top from their kind of traditional 4-4-2 that they play. Moving him back, they're trying to put up and kind of shore up the holes of being overrun in the midfield. Obviously, they are only playing with 2 midfielders. Whitecaps have 3 that are in the midfield with Mueller kind of just roaming around as more the attacking piece. It did seem to shore them up a little bit. Obviously, they were having to deal with an onslaught. I think, what was it? There was also 3 posts in that first half alone.
Yeah, the Whitecaps could have been up 5-0 in 20 minutes.
But I mean, all it takes is one chance, and that's all Vancouver FC had in the first half, and it was enough for a goal.
Yeah, actually, both their shots on target goals.
Yeah,
Vancouver FC. Pretty poor giveaway in the midfield. Mosqueda picks it up, and he finds and beats Isaac Boehmer that was Vancouver FC's first shot, let alone on target in the entire game.
Good move by Ba also to get around Halbuni. I mean, it was a battle of strength on strength. Ba came out ahead in order to get around, find himself space, clear break. That's always going to be a tough one for Isaac to save.
Yeah,
try to make himself big just wasn't enough. Second half, and you're right, did it again. Late on with a bit of a consolation goal. This time it was Nicholas Mosqueda stepping up.
Yeah, didn't celebrate, which out of respect.
But before that, we finally got to see Ryan Gauld back on the pitch. Came on the pitch around the 72nd, 73rd minute, and within about 5 minutes,
less than 5 minutes, like 3 minutes. 2 minutes. He finishes off the give and go with Jaden Nelson, who was subbed off with him.
Yeah.
And Gald, it was like he never left. He was never gone. And the ovation he got, not even when he came on, but when they saw him warming up,
Yeah.
just great to see, and how shows how much Gald is loved by Whitecaps fans, by the city. And just seeing him back doing his thing is just a wonderful sight for all of us who cover the team, who cheer for the team. And to do it in the final makes it even sweeter. And, just getting him back in time for the playoffs is huge, especially with 3 more games left in the regular season.
Absolutely. Obviously, he only got a run in of about, I don't even know if it was 15 minutes with stoppage
Felt like
time.
less.
Yeah. But it's nice to see him actually back on contributing, being with his teammates, the fans getting that reaction from him as well. You're going to see more of him. I'm hoping that maybe on the weekend you get to see him for maybe a half. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But anytime you get a player back of that caliber, and for as long as it took, I think he was out. It was close to 7 months. It was March 8th, I believe, was his last game. So
it was March 8th.
There you go.
And just overall, first 15 minutes of the game, it looked like the Whitecaps were, making Vancouver FC look shell-shocked with their pace and passing and the possession. But good on Vancouver FC for eventually trying to make it a game.
Mm-hmm.
Because as the game went on, their passes slowly got better, like very slowly got better. And they did catch the Whitecaps with some breaks. But overall, it was just a solid win by the Whitecaps. And, for us, it never gets old going down on the pitch to see the team lift the trophy and talk to some of the players. Yeah, credit to Vancouver FC for, maybe they really are the best last place team in the CPL.
The one thing with Vancouver FC is you're slowly starting to see the influence that Martin Nash is having on these players. This is a very young team. Yes, they have a couple of experienced pieces in there that can kind of help with training, with understanding what it is to be a professional in that environment. But I do wonder if you gave Martin Nash an off season, allowed him to kind of build the team that he wants rather than coming into someone else's kind of configuration and squad, and give him a solid run, I think you're going to see a different Vancouver FC. It's not going to be rewritten overnight.
No,
but it is a team that I think could get out of the basement if you have someone like Martin Nash running the show. I think this is a manager. Not only does he have that affection for the Lower Mainland, this is a guy that's from this part of the world, but I think he is the kind of manager you need for a younger team. I think this is a guy that thrives in development situations, which the previous regime I don't think did. I think
they did more or less, but
I think they were asking too much. And I think rather than trying to build players up, it almost felt like they were trying to break them down.
It felt like the last regime was all on youth because now, of
in
course,
terms of the roster being picked, I don't know about in terms of coaching.
It ran its course.
Yeah,
under Avshin Godby, but Martin Nash, I think he deserves the job permanently at Vancouver FC, and it'd be nice to give him a full year. And Vancouver FC have many under 25, under 23 players, and they have some veterans like Mosqueda, Paris G, Callum Irving, to name a few.
Yeah,
but this is a team that if all goes right, would be get out of the basement next year, because third year in the CPL, you expect the expansion, trend period to be over by now.
Let me put it this way. If they decide to keep Martin Nash, I have higher hopes for Vancouver FC than I do right now for Pacific. I have concerns of, and obviously we're not too sure what's going to happen with them just yet. They have a lot of other things going on with the impending sale of that club. What's going to happen there? But we'll have to wait and see. But I think, yes, credit to Vancouver FC. They made it a game. I don't think it was a dominant performance by the Whitecaps. It wasn't the blowout that some people were expecting. I mean, I
No,
heard
it wasn't 8-0 as Michael McCall was expecting.
Yeah, not happening. But yeah, 4 times in a row. Only been done once before, Toronto FC between 2009 2012, but that was underneath a completely different format.
Yeah, when
This has never been done underneath the format that includes
the
not only
CPL,
the CPL teams, but since
League One
2023, the League One teams as well.
yeah, because back then it was only like 3 or 4 teams.
3 teams until 2011 when FC Edmonton was brought in when they were part of the old NASL.
Yeah, rest in peace to them. Rest in peace to the many incarnations of FC Edmonton,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah. I was going to say.
Yeah, so, I mean, just well done to the Whitecaps for not, letting the pressure get to them. They've really done a lot this year. I mean, it goes to show that I think the Cascadia Cup and the Canadian Championship, okay, this is hopefully a preview of what's to come in the fall.
You hope. The other thing I want to mention about this tournament, just because there could be some interesting math that's going on here when we start to calculate spots for next year's Champions Cup. Whitecaps are in the Champions Cup by way of winning this tournament. However, they might receive an additional berth by finishing in the top 4 of the Supporters' Shield standings in MLS.
Yeah.
If that happens, their berth from this tournament that they won last night would actually go to the runners-up, which means that Vancouver FC could still be in Champions Cup for next year.
Yeah, top 4 in the Supporters' Shield standings. Now imagine like the Mexican teams, they're near Miami, or even like in Hispania playing at Willoughby Park.
I think it's great.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Remember, Whitecaps have had to play matches in this tournament at Starlight.
Yep.
Right? Hopefully that ends up being in the very far, far past, and that never happens again. I mean, stranger things have happened, right? Do it. Have these games at Willoughby Park. Why not?
Yeah, it helps grow the game in Langley.
Not only that, but you're going to grow the profile of this club. And if you want to start attracting players of a higher caliber playing on an international stage, continental tournament is a good way to do that.
Yep, but for the Whitecaps, job's not done. Not at all. We got 3 games left in the regular season. Playoffs that still be hosting game 1 of the first round. Like I said earlier, Cascadia and Canadian Championship should be the preview of hopefully what's to come in the fall. They've got a good team. Obviously some injuries, but slowly but surely players are coming back like Ryan Gauld. So there's no reason why to think the Whitecaps can go on a deep run.
Next game up this Sunday afternoon game at 3:00. We'll be home against San Jose Earthquakes. That's where they'll get started here right now. Earthquakes.
They did the Whitecaps a favor by beating San Diego.
Yeah, but they're holding on to that final play-in spot, 9th in the West. But they are tied with FC Dallas, who is sitting in 10th right now. FC Dallas is who the Whitecaps will be playing on Decision Day. It's a bit of I don't want to say an easier run-in for the Whitecaps, but compared to some of the other teams that they're going to be fighting against, Philadelphia Union, who they have with their last 2 games, it is a little bit easier with them. In the middle of that, they do have an away trip to Orlando City. Arguably the most difficult game that they still have in their 3-game schedule of the regular season. Cross-continental, north-south, east-west. And a team that the Whitecaps obviously don't play a lot. So, it's going to be a bit of an interesting one. All right, let's move on. We also had the Vancouver Rise play last weekend, Halifax Tides, ending up in a 1-1 draw. It was nice to at least get a point back after they hadn't scored in their previous 2 matches, and it was enough to clinch that 4th and final playoff spot in the NSL. Rise have, I believe, believe, 2 games left in their regular season. I'll have to check that just to make sure. Both are away matches, and then we'll get into playoffs with them. So the teams that do qualify for the NSL playoffs are going to be at the very top will be AFC Toronto, followed by Ottawa Rapid. Whitecaps are in there as well. And the final team, Montreal Roses. We have to wait to see what the matchup is going to be. But Whitecaps do clinch that 4th and final playoff spot. Other information coming out with the NSL earlier today. The trophy that will be presented as the award for winning the NSL playoffs has been unveiled. The Diana B. Matheson Cup. I don't know if you get a chance to check this out. Pictures and videos are starting to go online of it right now. It's a very, very beautiful trophy. It has obviously the star that we recognize from the NSL logo wrapped up in gold. One thing that is very, very interesting about this trophy, and I'm going to see if I can find it right now, but it does sound like what they're going to be doing is it has a wood base. And for every season that is played, they're going to change that wooden base to be from wood that is indigenous to that part of Canada of whoever is winning the trophy. I think there's something that's going to be interesting. Yes, right here. Bronze base layer representing Canada's historic metals, wood foundation that begins with maple and will be replaced each year with wood sourced from the home region of the winning club. Go ahead and check it out. North Star emblems crown the design. It's named after the founder of the league. Now, let's be honest, Diana Matheson did not name the trophy after herself. This was named by the Board of Governors, so credit to that. It's also not the first time that a trophy has been named after someone within, their own group. We can look at Clarence Campbell and, the Clarence Campbell Trophy, which, not only was it a trophy that, is pretty prestigious in the NHL, it was a trophy in the league since 1968, and he was the commissioner well into the 70s. So, it has happened before. Anyway, if you get a chance, check out the Diana B. Matheson Trophy. It is a pretty beautiful piece of art. Right. Moving on from there, we will move to Tottenham next. Not the greatest week. Not the greatest week for the Spurs. They started off on the weekend with a draw against the last place Wolverhampton Wolves. Wolves have started the season with not a single point to their name. Obviously, if you're going to get a point, play Tottenham. They ended up with their first point, a draw. First goal, courtesy of Santiago Bueno in the 54th minute. It was, again, another one of those cagey games. We talked about the earlier game against that the Whitecaps were playing against Seattle. That was a bit of a cagey game. This match as well. And it actually took into stoppage time for João Palhinha to be able to tie this match and at least salvage something from the game. It does keep Tottenham pretty decent in the overall race. 6 matches into the season so far, 11 points, which is not a bad return, especially when you consider that Liverpool was handed their very first loss of the season. So they're only 4 points behind the leaders. It is still a very, very tight table. Obviously, that 4th spot is in a 4-way tie, and I never thought I would say this. It is a 4-way tie, or a 3-way tie with Sunderland and Bournemouth. So, 6 games in, and this is still the table that's going to have a lot of shifting before we see anything come up soon. Game in the midweek, back to Champions League action, and Tottenham was playing Bodo Glimt in Norway. This game was in Norway, and if we remember anything from Bodo Glimt last year, who Tottenham had to play in Europa League and did the double against them at that point. This one
was different.
This one was different. This is also a team that plays, I believe it is about 200 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle. So it's one of the most northernmost professional football clubs in the world. Obviously, artificial turf. There's no way you're going to have grass up there and be able to play for the entire length of the season. But This was a game that had heavy rotation, and it showed. Bodo Glimt dominated the game. Very, very easy to see shots. I mean, obviously 18-3, had the majority of the possession, and they were up 2-0 very early in the second half. It took work from Mickey Van de Ven and an own goal very, very late in the game, 89th minute, for Spurs to salvage a point. Little bit scary on this one. I got to admit, not the game I was hoping for. Vicario started the season very, very well. Was one of the best goalkeepers in the league. At one point, I think him and David Raya were tied for clean sheets and only one goal against after, I think, the first 4 matches. But since then, he has looked questionable. And it's not in the shot stopping. I think it's a lot of it is in the decisions that he's making in talking with his defenders. Obviously, still working with a brand new coach, trying to clean up any of that sort of business right now. Thomas Frank is definitely a bit more of a defense-minded coach than, say, Ange Postecoglou, but there is still work to be done. Up next, they will play this weekend as they travel over to Leeds United. Leeds United sitting right now in 12th with a 2-2-2 record. Kind of get back to winning ways. I know they've had a couple of draws, but it would be nice to get back to an actual win in their squad. Other than that, only a couple of other pieces of news. Dominic Solanke, who hasn't played in a little bit, has actually now gone in for what they call a minor surgery on his foot. Minor. They actually expect him to miss that much time. They're hoping that he will be back by the end of the next international window, which is this month. We'll have to wait and see. Now it's just a matter of recovery right now. You do make you wonder, though, if you had this coming right now, it does seem like it was something that had been around because of how much Richarlison had been playing. You kind of wish this had been done in the summer, just been taken care of. Other than that, Spurs are very, very close to signing a brand new contract with Roberto Bentancur. His contract is done at the end of this season. Obviously, a midfield player who's been playing quite a lot with the absence of Yves Bissouma, who basically has one foot out the door and the other foot is being pushed out. Definitely one of those contracts you want to get done here as soon as possible.
Yep, that should be we get done. Sorry, issues with my mic, so I'm back now. And people outside were making noise. For Chelsea, they lost to their feeder club, Brighton, at Stamford Bridge.
We were talking about this last week about the possibility of this happening, right? Brighton against the top 6.
Yeah, Brighton, Brentford, Crystal Palace, always against the top 6.
Yeah.
Dominant start. Enzo Fernandez scored a header, but it could have been like 2 or 3-0 with the amount of chances they had, the amount of possession they had. Second half, things seemed to go more of the same. But then a red card to Trevor Chalobah for taking down, I believe it was Mitoma, because Santos gave the ball away to Mitoma. And after that, the game changed. It was all Brighton. Brighton were dominating in the possession, and of course, Danny Welbeck scores, tied the game, and he scored the 3rd goal because Danny Welbeck always scores against Chelsea. And I always forget that he's still playing and he's not retired. Yeah, this guy's still around, and he's always still scoring against Chelsea. And then also Maxime de Cyper scored in stoppage time. There were like 12 minutes of stoppage time or something like that, because of the red card and the amount of VAR calls. Very disappointing all around, and just pretty poor from Santos and Chalobah. To lose to Brighton, always the joke. Oh, Chelsea can't beat their feeder club. Yeah, that's 3 wins in a row for Brighton of Albion against Chelsea. And to lose like this at home, down to 10 men. Again, Maresca, which leaves Joao Pedro as the only attacker, pretty much. and not like they deserve to lose this game after Chalaba got sent off. But then Benfica in the Champions League 2 days ago, they won. Wasn't the best performance, but they needed the win. Richard Rios scored the own goal, but it's caused by Neto's cross to Garnacho. Garnacho would have been credited with the goal if the own goal rule didn't exist. So a win's a win. Neto was pretty much the only one creating, and it goes to show how much Cole Palmer is missed. Because Neto was taking on defenders, crossing it, making all these passes. Could have scored a goal himself. Esteval looked good off the bench with his skill moves. Creation is still it's there, but obviously he's just 18. Still a bit of work. Garnacho was okay. Though there's this one moment where on the transition he should have passed to Esteban. Instead, he shot it over the bar like it wasn't even close. Like he shot it into like row Z. But Enzo Maresca gets the beast better of Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho said he will always be blue prior to the game. Good on him for shaking hands and sharing hugs with the media members, the PR staff of Chelsea. He'll always be Chelsea. And Chelsea fans gave love to him at the beginning of the game.
You know what? This is nice to see.
He'll always be Chelsea, no matter where he goes.
This guy breathes Chelsea. It is nice to see, and it's interesting to see, even though he has, kind of stepped to other places in London. So
yeah, even though he coached Man United and Tottenham, he'll always be Chelsea. And of course, they can't go a game without getting a red card, so Joao Pedro decided to get a second yellow. This was like late in the game, gets his elbow up on the Benfica player, sent off. He'll miss the next Champions League game against Ajax. Enzo Maresca joked after the game, "Hey, we finally won a game with 10 men." So that's something.
The joke right now is what's going on with how Maresca is coaching this team that they only ever play with 10 men.
Yeah, needs better discipline.
That's gotta be a real big concern right now.
I am like, can we go one game with 11 players?
Yeah.
One game. No more. And all the red cards. Sanchez going after Mbemo. Chalaba. I mean, I get the desperation, but the tackle on Matoma, I believe. But Santos really should have been better there. Then Joao Pedro getting his elbow up. And this was a problem with Joao Pedro when he was at Brighton. Too aggressive, getting him cards. So he'll miss the next Champions League game, and Chalaba will miss the weekend against Liverpool, who lost to Galatasaray and Crystal Palace. The cracks are starting to show at Liverpool because even Isak and Wirtz haven't really shown their price tag. Wirtz is now 008, so he's past 007. 150 million. Liverpool will be without Alisson, who got hurt against Galatasaray, but this is going to be tough because they're Liverpool. And no Cole Palmer.
I still feel the league is Liverpool's to lose, and I know that's saying something only 6 matches into it, but I think that has less to do with how dominant Liverpool is and how much of a project kind of every other team. Like every other team that has their own issues going on as well.
Yeah, but Liverpool issues already.
Yeah.
The cohesion hasn't really been kind of shining off. The early season shine has been wearing off. Well, they'll get back to form eventually. Arne Slot knows how to adapt. So no Cole Palmer, no Chalaba, no Delap, no Colwill, no Tosin, no Santos too, because he'll be out until after the international break. So a lot of injuries heading to the game against Liverpool. And then it will be the international break, because after the break they go away to Nottingham Forest and play Ajax at home in the Champions League. Speaking of Champions League, actually no, we'll get to this first. Harry Kane is the fastest to 100 goals with a club this century, and he right now is the best striker in the world, though I still don't think he gets the credit he deserves.
In the most recent Ballon d'Or listings, I think he was listed at 15th.
He should have been top
voting.
10, actually.
You got to wonder if he's going to be top 10. And you got to think that this is going to be one of the best players to never win the individual award. What this guy has done in terms of being such a prolific goal scorer kind of blows your mind when you think that he is the fastest to reach 100 goals for a club in any of Europe's top 5 leagues. He did 100 goals in 104 games. He beat the record that was held by both Holland and Ronaldo, which was 105. He's doing this at the age of 32. Like, he's not a young mid-20s sort of guy, right?
But he's still scoring.
Now, there have been also in the first 9 games of this season, he has 17 goals.
Yeah, and look, fastest player from Europe's top 5 leagues through 20 goal contributions, beating Messi's incredible 2011-12 season.
Yeah.
And Kane's also on the list with Tottenham.
Yeah. It's not like this is a one-off thing with Harry Kane.
No, this is what he does.
He's got to be one of the most prolific goal scorers ever.
The game has ever seen.
Yeah, like especially when you look at the men's game and the leagues that he's doing this in, the top 5 men's leagues around the world. I don't know what else a player of his caliber needs to do. There's a lot of talk about whether or not he's going to be on the move this January. Talk that he does want to come back to the Premier League. Where in the Premier League is a whole other question as well.
Certainly not to another Big 6 side.
Man United has wanted him
for
over a decade. But
they got their own problem.
Has that first right to match any offer. So we'll have to wait and see. Also, can you honestly think of a player right now in their right mind that would want to go to Manchester United?
Other than that 17-year-old they signed, no.
Yeah. Well, that 17-year-old is also just getting a payday, so they don't have to work at the corner store.
Yeah, or a Tesco. So,
I don't think he gets the credit he does. I don't think he has gotten the credit for a long time. But and I do wonder if some of that is because compared to other players in this list, he just hadn't won major trophies until he moved to Germany.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like when he was at Tottenham, best striker in the Premier League at the time, but like, he plays for Tottenham, they don't win anything. Even goes to Bayern Munich. He's just stat padding in the Bundesliga. Yeah. That's what people are saying.
I hate that view.
No.
Right? I hate the view that you can't be the best because of all the other people around you. That shouldn't weigh into it. The fact that he's able to do this while he might not be on the best teams, I think that it should be something that's more in his favor.
Yeah. This guy did it in the Premier League. He's doing it in the Bundesliga. So no one should be surprised that Kane is scoring.
Does it in the Champions League?
Does it in the Champions League. Of course, England is a different issue.
He's still doing it with England.
But at major tournaments, there are questions. But 100 goals in 104 games is an incredible feat, and I really do think he should have been above Cole Palmer, as saying this as a Chelsea fan, in the Ballon d'Or voting.
Yeah. I'll be the first to admit, I don't care at all about Ballon d'Or. It's an individual award in a team game. I've never really understood individual awards in team games, but it's around. We talk about it.
Yeah, 8 matches, and it's one man of the match in pretty much all of them. I do believe, throughout his whole career, he's had critics and naysayers, haters for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe they just can't stand the way he talks, though that's just something he can't control.
Yeah.
Or the fact that he hasn't won major trophies until he joined Bayern. But this is one of the most prolific strikers the game has ever seen.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that.
Champions League. Canadians faced each other yesterday. Jonathan David in Juventus and Tejan Buchanan and Tani Oluwaseyi for Villarreal. And 2-2 game. It was It was a good game. Had a late equalizer from former Chelsea player Renato Vega, who had a header against Villarreal, like very close to the pretty much right at in the 90th minute. But the Canadians, not really the best game for either of them.
No.
Jonathan David, kind of. I'm sorry, but he ghosted. He did hit the woodwork, but Footmob said he lost the most duels in the match. And when I watched the game, I think he lost every duel. He lost 9 of them.
David, you know what? Besides a bit of a flurry at the beginning, he's had a bit of a difficult time with Juventus.
Yeah, there was always questions whether he'd adapt to a bigger team. And I think he's struggling a little bit now.
I think it's going to take time. Think of the difficulty Tejan Buchanan had when he first went to AC Milan. Obviously, the injury didn't help, but moving to a different team, you find different opportunities. We'll have to wait and see if Juventus is going to finally present that opportunity for him. But yeah, there's not a lot of patience in sport, and I find that there's even little when it comes to football.
Yeah, no successful dribbles for Jonathan David either, which is very concerning. And yeah, when he had the ball, he just kept losing it. And it's funny now that there was talks of Dusan Vlahovic will leave Juventus. And then all of a sudden, David comes and Vlahovic actually looks like a world beater.
Yeah.
That is just funny. For the other Canadians, Buchanan had one shot. I think it just went right at the goalkeeper. Although he did make a few good passes. But other than that, nothing really that wowed us. Taniolo Wase came off the bench, but didn't really do a whole lot either. 2 shots that didn't really test the keeper that well. No, they just both missed. And one of them was blocked. So didn't really make any successful dribbles either. Wasn't winning any duels. So good game if you're a neutral, but if you're a Canadian hoping Canadians do well on the European stage, that wasn't the game.
No, unfortunately not.
I'm sure all of those guys will find their form, and though there's pressure on David more, since he's supposed to be the guy at Juventus now. I'm just looking where Juventus, who they play next in Serie A. Juventus plays AC Milan on Sunday at home.
There you go.
So we get Jonathan David versus Christian Pulisic. And Villarreal. Oh, wow. Away to Real Madrid.
Boom. There you go.
Tough test for Buchanan and Taniolo Wase.
Yeah.
So, the roster for the upcoming October friendlies for the Canadian men's national team are out. Really no surprises.
No. One inclusion that I did like was nice to see Liam Miller back after a lengthy injury. Nice to see him back into the lineup. I have to see what he gets in terms of game time.
And Moise Bombito is back too.
Yeah.
After his lengthy injury. James Pantemis has gotten the call from Jesse Marsh. Though he likely won't play, but done okay for himself.
You're Portland, you're just like, please wrap my goalkeepers up in bubble wrap.
Yeah. Yeah, really no surprises with any of the names. And Marsh is pretty much going all out for these games against Australia and Colombia. The U.S. have also revealed their sides as well. So luckily for the Whitecaps, Sebastian Berhalter has not been called up.
Interesting press conference with Pochettino, if you happen to see it, a little bit testy with reporters over some of the selection, where he was actually trying to goad reporters saying, if you don't like mine, give me suggestions. Where's your roster? Because
no Reno and no Scally and Musa.
I got questions about whether or not Poch has got to have a good next 2 windows, because people are starting to you're starting to see fans turn on him for a while. But the fact that you're seeing that sort of testiness with media, I don't know.
Pressure. Yeah, he's never really testy with the media. Like we saw when he was in England and France, he was never really like that.
No. towards the end of his reign with Tottenham, maybe a little bit, but I think a lot of that.
Yeah, same with Chelsea, but that
I think
reporter
that
was
was more
kind
to
of being a
do
douche.
with his kind of falling out with Danny Levy at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to wait and see because you
Four
if you're gonna
goalkeepers.
look to change a manager this late before a World Cup. That's
Can't do
dicey.
that.
No.
4 goalkeepers for
Yeah.
2 games. That's a choice.
Yeah.
But back to Canada. Unlike Pochettino, Marsh is just picking out his best players. No BS. But
Marsh is gearing up for the World Cup right now. It is the next tournament that is on the roster. He is using this not only to see his players and put them in front of the best competition that he can, but he's looking at this to figure out who is my starting 11.
Yeah,
I think
how
there's a
are
lot of
we?
questions that he already knows, but even he has admitted there's certain areas that he is not sure yet.
Like goalkeeper.
Yeah, like goalkeeper. And I think that's a legitimate question to have. I think it's a good question to have, but it's one that you want to start seeing more and more. And you want to also give these players as much of an opportunity to play with one another. So if you're not going to change this lineup, you give these players the opportunity to continue to play with each other. Once it comes time to a World Cup, they're going to know each other that much better rather than have rotated lineups constantly.
Got a lot of young players on this team, like DeFugero, Seager, Nelson, the Promise David. So we need some time to gel with the veterans and need to get more opportunities to prove they belong for the World Cup next year. And really just got a pretty solid team all around. For the Whitecaps, Nelson and Ahmed get the call-up. So, yeah, this weekend, Whitecaps back in action against San Jose. I was also looking. San Jose's win against San Diego was their first win since they beat the Whitecaps in August.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, the infamous Tim Ford game, and thankfully Tim Ford isn't refereeing the game on Sunday. Note the start time actually 3:00, which is I like.
Yeah,
3:00 at BC Place. So once the game is over, you can go to the bar, or the casino, or a restaurant, or whatever. So gotta be wary of Chicho Arango and Joseph Martinez. Take advantage of San Jose's league defense. For other football stuff, NSL playoffs on the horizon. CPL is in the last stages of the regular season. Canada friendlies coming up next week for men and women. And of course, Premier League and European football and Champions League. October. It's October, folks. The best month in all sports. You got soccer, hockey, basketball, football, and baseball all on. Hockey starts next week. Basketball starts soon. NFL's underway. MLB playoffs are underway. Go Jays. I'll be watching Yankees Red Sox tonight. And, of course, footy. MLS. It's down to the wire, especially with this supporter shield race we're having.
Absolutely.
And it's a great time to be a Whitecaps fan because, this team could do something special this season. And they're expecting another big crowd, not just for Sunday, but for Decision Day against FC Dallas. So if you want to come to the game, you might as well. So follow me on Twitter at Joshua00, Nathan and Zen Durek, podcast at Terminal City FC. Check out all the writing for Area 51 Sports Network. Soccer articles from us, hockey from me and some others, PWHL as well, WHL, and even some NFL, and other podcasts for WHL, Canucks, and all that. Again, if you're a business, want to support us, feel free to reach out. Terminal City FC Podcast at gmail.com in the episode description. Support one of Vancouver's growing football/soccer shows. We'd love to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be back next week talking about whatever happens in the Whitecaps San Jose game and more. So that concludes this week's episode. Peace out.
Take care.